Okay, so I wanted to kind of come out here and document this squash. Now, if you can tell, it does have some powdery mildew, which is not good. But it has been growing all this time, despite the fact that we had a couple of weeks that were between 35 and 50 degrees consistently. And it was more than a couple of weeks, but it was a long period of time, which is unusually cold for this time of year for that long. Thank you. I got a pretty flower. And so I'm not surprised that with the amount of rain it has that they are showing some sign of mildew. But the reason I don't want to pull them out is because
they're doing well.
They're doing well, exactly. And these are actually producing fruit, which is really unusual this time of year. They're male and female flowers. These are the female flowers with the fruit at the bottom, and these are the male flowers. And the male flowers and the female flowers, even if they don't produce, you can still eat them. Like, you can use this male flower when it opens to pollinate your squash and then go fry it up. And even these little baby squash, they're really good to eat once they get a little bigger. So you can still do that. I'm actually hoping to not eat these, but save a few squash from them to kind of grow them out. I don't know what this is. It does have spines. It's some kind of hybrid. So I know that I'm taking a chance saving seed from it. But really what I want to do is breed this squash that's doing so well even throughout consistently wet and cold weather. It doesn't have any squash bugs. It doesn't have a lot of damage except for the mildew that showed up within the last week or two. I really want to take these and breed them to a downy mildew resistant squash, zucchini type squash, and save the seeds from those and see what I can produce and maybe get something that will produce squash even in cold weather, which means squash in the winter or squash earlier in February and March, and see how that goes. But I did kind of want to show it off and see if maybe anyone else has had some pretty good luck with squash like this, because I think this is really amazing to have a squash doing this well this time of year in abnormally cold weather. If you know anything about squash, especially zucchini type squash, they don't usually do well in extremely wet, extremely cool weather. So I'm very impressed with these, and I'm not doing anything special with them. I mean, you see the ants are still growing and hanging out in here, so they do kind of help farm some of the other insects, but it's just our blackberry bed. These are the blackberries that are starting to kind of slow down. These are the turnips, some random plants around here, Tabasco plants, and the baby blackberries. Well, it's actually a 2-year-old plant that I cut down because it did have some gall from the cold weather. So you can see it's not growing in any place special. I'm not using any chemicals to stop insects from growing on it, and the weather has been unusual. So all of this combined, that's pretty encouraging for me, other than the downy mildew, or powdery mildew. So if I can get these to produce fruit with good seeds and then breed them to something that's resistant from these fungus and disease, I think that I could have a really good shot at growing squash year round here in Southeast Texas.